Hello chess friends, and welcome to Yasser of Chess channel, and welcome to really one of the greatest chess games that you see in your life. Welcome to the immortal gameplay by Leela C Zero against Tucano from the TCEC Season 26 Cup event that you can follow now on the official and beautiful TCEC website. So this Cup event is a little bit different. It's not a league format, it's a bracket system, it's a knockout stage where we have 32 top engines battling it all for the throne. And surprisingly, in the TCEC season 25, Leela C Zero won the final against Stockfish. It was a brilliant performance by Leela, and I think again in this season we can expect the super final between Leela and Stockfish. So far both of the engines have won their first matches, and this game that I'll show you from the first round of this TCEC season 26 Cup event is really crazy. It breaks, I think, every principle in chess. It breaks every rule in chess. In my opinion, one of the craziest and most spectacular games that I've seen in my life. So put your seatbelts on and enjoy the wild attack here with the white pieces. Leela opened with the move d4. Tucano's response was knight to f6. We have c4, e6, knight to c3, and after move bishop to b4, we have now the beautiful Nimzo-Indian Defense. Now knight to f3, 3 Knights Variation, and now we have this idea, knight to e4, putting more pressure against the knight on c3. Queen to c2 protects everything around the square c3, and now we have f5 supporting the powerful knight here on e4. g3 played by Leela, and now the last move that was pre-arranged by the organizer was now the move c5. From this point on, the engines are calculating this position for themselves. So this pre-arranged line is of course not the optimal line for black, but it's not a huge problem. I think this is playable in some ways, has been played many times, so as I said, it's not such a huge problem because in many of these pre-arranged openings one engine has almost a +1 evaluation. So far it is playable. The idea about this move c5 is obviously to put more pressure against the knight on c3 with the potential move queen to a5. So we have now bishop to g2 by Leela, queen to a5, putting more pressure against the knight on c3, and now the fun starts. In chess history, so far, kingside castling has been played. There is a beautiful gameplay by Vasily Ivanchuk against Simon Agdestein, in which Vasily Ivanchuk won his game in this particular line. Queen to c3, knight to c3, rook to e1 protecting, c takes d4, knight to d4, and Vasily Ivanchuk, although down a pawn, won this game because, of course, because of the better piece activity, because of the beautiful bishop pair, because of the options through the attack on the b file. The knight is a little bit loose, so nothing spectacular, but I think a good position here for white, although as I said, down a pawn. But after move queen to a5, Leela C Zero comes up with a beautiful theoretical novelty, with really one of the coolest ideas that I've seen, d5. And this move d5, as I analyzed the game, came as a surprise, but this similar method I saw in one particular game, not in the same way, but it was a similar tactic idea introduced to us by Yasser Seirawan in his game against Jan Timman, and I would love for you maybe to watch Yasser Seirawan's explanation about his game from 1919, in which he really destroyed Jan Timman, where he mentioned in a potential line that has not been played in their game, where a potential piece sacrifice around the square c3 is possible in order to get this breakthrough motif with the move d5. So as I said, it's not in the same way, but please watch the video by Yasser Seirawan. It's really one of the greatest chess videos that I've seen in my life. It's on the St. Louis Chess Club, where he explained a similar tactical idea with this progressive method with the move d5. So now Leela C Zero says, take whatever you like here around the square c3. I'm not scared. I have now a central pawn storm that will simply destroy all of your pieces. So here in the after move d5, we have knight to c3 by Tucano, and Leela C Zero doesn't even care, plays now the move kingside castling. Leela is now down the whole piece. Again, Tucano can retreat with the knight on e4, and it seems so, in the beginning at least, that maybe Leela C Zero can get the piece back, but actually after move queen to a6, Tucano keeps the extra piece on the board. You cannot take because you lose the rook on a1. But now comes another beautiful idea here by Leela. Knight to g5. After knight to g5, bishop to g5. Now the rooks are connected, and Tucano can escape, can play now the move bishop to a5. It seems so that this idea is not working because white is down a whole piece. What's the compensation? But now Leela C Zero shows a brutal compensation in pawn movement, in pawn storms in the center of the board. First of all, b4, of course you cannot take. C takes b4 is not possible. A takes b4 is not all is coming. Then you lose simply the bishop. White will get the piece back. We'll have again simply the bishop pair on the board. I think it's game over here for black. You could maybe retreat to b6. Seems tempting, of course, but then after b5, queen to a5, bishop to d2 traps actually the queen. Again, the game is over here for black. Even if you play bishop to d8, I've really searched now, when I analyze the game at home, I've really searched for opportunities how black should defend this position. If you play bishop to d8, then after bishop to df, king to d8, now rook from a to d1 is coming, placing the rook where already the king is. So now you see the heavy artillery is included into the game. What should you do? If you play something like e5, if you try to keep somehow the files locked, then d6 is paralyzing now the position of the queen. You could maybe try here, I don't know, something like knight to c6, but now queen to f5, and this is, in my opinion, almost unprotectable anymore. Queen to g5, bishop takes c6, queen to e7. Dirty tactics are coming for sure. After rook from a to d1, you could maybe try here e takes d5, but then rook to d5. You're trying maybe somehow to protect with queen to f6, or I don't know, with queen to g6. But now with b5, we're simply neutralizing the knight. The knight doesn't have a good square. I don't know, you're trying something like d6 to finally bring your pieces into the defense, but now we attack, and now we can even give up now 2 rooks for the queen, but now the queen is coming, and now after queen to g7, you could maybe try to hang on to a rook here on h8, but now after bishop to b7, queen to b7, the position is collapsing. Again, the game is over here for black. So I really searched for some kind of a defense. Even b6 in this position is not working, instead of this move queen to g6, because then you open up the diagonal for the light square bishop. Even if you try knight to c6, then b5 is coming. So this is really powerful attack here by Leela C Zero. So that's why after move b4, you see bishop to d8 is not working, bishop to b6 is not working. The only solid move here for black is now the move bishop to c7. So as I said, I really searched for some kind of a defense now. Is this really working here for white? Because this is really crazy. In the beginning, Leela C Zero gave up the minor piece. So after bishop to c7, we have now b5. The queen has to go here, and now Leela continues here with a4, preparing of course a5, also trapping the queen. So that's why a5 by Tucano, paralyzing the potential movement of the pawns on the queen side, and now e4. Here again, Leela is hoping now to open the center to simply get the rook on the e file, if necessary, of course, this other rook on the d file, and open simply up the position against the king with the support of the bishop pair, with the support of the queen. This is really enormous pressure now that black has to handle. And again, in this position, I've searched now, again, what should black do? What kind of a defense can you play here? I've analyzed first of all this move. Kingside castling seemed to me like logical idea, wasn't played in the game, but it seemed to me that this could be playable. Maybe it's time really to get out of this potential tactical mess that could happen in the center of the board when the pawns are off the board. So that's why kingside castling, I've analyzed it first. And now after something like e takes f5, if you try here rook to f5, then f4 simply supports now the bishop on g5. And if you try again to somehow simplify the game by trading off the pieces, then bishop to e4 is coming, takes. You have to now play something like g6 would take. This other rook is coming into the game. Look at this. Rook to e8 wins the game immediately. Even if you try, I don't know, after f takes g5 to play, I don't know, rook to f1, you have to now somehow lock this diagonal. If you play g6, obviously we'll simply sacrifice bishop to g6, h takes g6, queen to g6 is again winning. If you try here even h6, then after a couple more moves, rook to f8 is also a beautiful checkmate. So really I had a tough time what to do, how to defend this position even after e takes f5. If you try maybe here e takes f5 without this move rook to f5, then you play bishop to e7, attack the rook. Now rook to e1 protects the bishop. You try now here the move d6, supporting everything, and after a couple of trades of pieces, this is again unpleasant. Look at this. All of the minor pieces of blacks in this potential line, as I said, this wasn't played in the game, all of the minor pieces are paralyzed by black. You cannot move the bishop, you cannot move the knight. If you trade it off, then this passer is rolling, pawn on f5 is weak. This rook will be included into the game, so too many options here for white. Again, the game is over here for black. Very wild stuff. Even if you play something like d6 here without bishop to d8, then we have this one, bishop to f6. So look how dirty really this attack by Leela C Zero. You take maybe here rook g1, takes. Now this queen is coming. You're trying to bring something in between, but now, for instance, in a potential line after queen to h5, again the game is over here for black. So after move e4, as I said, kingside castling, almost a suicide here for black, so you cannot castle immediately. So that's why Tucano in the beginning played the correct move, h6. You should not tolerate this active piece on g5. You have to now step back with the bishop. Leela, of course, retreats to the most active square on d2. We have kingside castling, and now Leela goes for the attack with the move f4. Of course, preparing even in some lines e5, d6, and the cool part is that this pawn on b5 is neutralizing always the potential activity of the knight on c6. So the knight cannot be included into the defense, it cannot be included into the game, and so far also the light square bishop of blacks is not participating in the game at all. So with this pawn movement, Leela C Zero neutralized almost all of the minor pieces, and we cannot say also that this bishop on c7 is in good shape. It's also paralyzed by this pawn activity of white. So very strong positional active play by Leela C Zero. So again, what should black do now? In the game, e takes d5 was played by Tucano, but now Leela C Zero plays a beautiful move, plays e takes f5, creates here a 4 versus 2 pawn majority. He's hoping to let the pawns roll. He's hoping also, of course, to somehow split the pawn chain in front of the king, and of course include the queen into the attack. Again, what should black do? If you try something like d6 here, seems tempting finally to get the bishop into the game, then bishop to d5 is coming. Then we play f6 after rook to f6, rook to e1, of course threatening some dangerous checks here on the back rank. You try now maybe bishop to d7, but now with bishop to c3 the position is collapsing. So instead of this move d6, you could maybe try bishop to d8, because we saw that the potential bishop to c3 was very dangerous. But now look at this, the pawn storm is coming. You're trying maybe bishop to f6, but now again bishop to d5, very dangerous here to handle. So again, not a good position anymore here for black. So this is rook to e1 is going to happen. This pawn is rolling, so again a messed up position here for black. What should you do if you play here, for instance, d takes c4 instead of this d6 bishop to d8? Then again, look at this, f6 is working. You try queen to f6. Now we play this one. Now look at this, f5, f6 is rolling. You don't know, so maybe try d6. Now we take out this one. Bishop to d5 is again coming. Look at this, we just keep the attacking flow, and again it's a messed up position again for black. So nothing is really working here. This is really crazy how this pawn storm is neutralizing all of these minor pieces of black. So after move e takes f5, that's why Tucano tried now d4. But again, this idea, bishop to d5 check, we have king to h8, and now rook from a to e1. We have seen this is always working, getting use of the open file. The preparation is, of course, somehow to let the pawns roll here, g4, g5, supporting the attack with the bishop. The queen is coming, obviously, on light squares into the game. So again, all of the minor pieces are neutralized, are paralyzed. So this is not really not a good position anymore here for black. So after rook to e1 that Leela played, Tucano tried, of course, to bring a new defender into the game, queen to f6, bringing the queen closer to the action. But now comes g4 with the preparation to play g5, and again, the position is really messed up here for black. We have d6. Finally, this light square bishop is somehow getting into the game, but it's of course not the optimal piece because it's paralyzed by this pawn chain, and now suddenly the bishop on c7, it's neutralized by its own pawn. So really dirty positional play by Leela. The knight cannot get out again, so nothing is again working here for black. When you maybe improved one minor piece activity, you're restricting your other piece activity. So it's really crazy how Leela C Zero is playing the game. So we have now king to h1, tiny little improvement of the king, bishop to d8, and now bishop to e6, bishop takes e6, and now f takes e6. Again, disconnects now this pawn from the f file, and you see now we have now really an amazing pawn storm on the king side. And the cool part is that the move f takes e6 is again neutralizing the potential activity of the knight. The knight is so bad it cannot be included into the defense. So again, if you want to include it, you have to give it up probably for a pawn. Maybe you can defend the position like this, but as I said, then Leela C Zero will simply get its piece back. Really crazy what's going on now. Bishop to e7, we have f5, queen to h4, rook to e4, protecting everything, and now Leela keeps the pieces on the board, doesn't want to trade it off anymore. Bishop to e1 attacks now the queen, queen to h3, rook queen to e2, protecting now the rook on f1, protects also the pawn on g4, protects also the rook. And now what Leela C Zero is trying to do is of course to play somehow h4, g5, f6, e7, so letting the pawns roll the pawn majority here on the king side. We have queen to b3, Tucano goes for not an important pawn, we would say. Leela C Zero continues with rook to f3, and the problem is you cannot take the pawn anyway. Queen to a4 is not working here. Tucano didn't play that, but I wanted to show you how again really brutal this attack by Leela is. For instance, if Tucano would have taken the pawn, then f6 is destroying the position on the king side. What should you do? Try something like bishop to f6, then g5. I don't know. Bishop to g5 loses the rook. You play here h takes g5, then rook to h3 with queen to h5 delivers checkmate here. If you try here g takes f6 instead of bishop to f6, then we have this one, e7, rook to e8, and now with h4 the bishop gets trapped, or at least you lose here the pawn on f6. Then also rook to f8 is working in some lines. So again, a messed up position here for black. So nothing was working. Now for rook to f3, Tucano tried queen to b1, didn't go for the pawn, is trying somehow to paralyze Leela's bishop here on e1. Leela gets of course the king out of this mess with king to g2, bishop to e7, rook to f1, indirectly hitting the queen, queen drops back to b3 again, and now rook to f4. We have d3, queen to e4, hitting of course now the knight, the pawn on b7, knight to c6. You see Tucano is not seeing anything better here than just to give up somehow the knight, the worst knight of all times here against the pawn, at least stopping somehow the progress here by Leela C Zero. After b takes c6, b takes c6, we have rook to f3 attacking now the pawn on d3. We have queen to a2 check. Rook to f2 covers of course everything here for Leela C Zero. We have queen to a4. Now Tucano finally took the pawn, but now Leela C Zero can of course also take out this one. We have a d5 by Tucano, and this was also a tiny little dirty trick here by Tucano. Tucano hoped of course maybe after c takes d5 that queen to g4 could happen, and then actually it's a draw because it's not working here. The king is a little bit naked, but of course Leela sees the correct way, plays now rook to c2, is not allowing here anything to happen around the square g4. We have rook from a to b8, and now a brilliant idea here by Leela, king to h3, of course going with the king towards the pawns. Here the main idea, as we said, is somehow to break the position here on the king side. We have king to rook to b7, bishop to h4, bishop to f6, bishop takes f6. We have g takes f6, rook to g3, d4, and now rook to e2, supporting of course the passer on the e file. We have queen to a1. Here Tucano is trying to deliver some checks, but now e7 anyway by Leela, hitting the rook. Rook has to go behind, is of course attacking now the pawn on e7, and now queen to d2, attacking simply the weak pawn on h6. King to g7 has to be played, and now king to h4. Leela C Zero includes now the king into the attack. Very wild stuff. What should black do? if you take now, after king to h4, this pawn, actually it's not working, because after rook to b3, this would be a beautiful deflection. You have to maybe play something like rook to b3, but now we take out this one with check, then we attack the queen. You're trying maybe to step back, but now with queen to h6, the game is over again here for black. So this is not working. So after move king to h4, queen to b1 was Tucano now, Tucano's last move, and now Leela breaks and enters here with the beautiful g5. We have h takes g5, and now rook to g5. You cannot take here because of this line. We have here queen to g6, and now we take out this one with the check. We'll include the rook into the game. Game over again here for black. So after rook to g5, Tucano had to step back with the king. Rook to h5 is coming. Tucano is trying to bring new defenders. We have rook to e1, and now queen to f5 was now Tucano's last move. The position is collapsing. Tucano lost the queen. This is game over. Here a couple of checks. Leela C Zero escapes. Rook to h5, king to rook to g7, rook to h8, a4. Now Leela C Zero, of course, includes now the queen, delivers a couple of checks here, and now after rook to g5, obviously there was maybe here some better lines for black, but it doesn't matter. This is obviously game over after a couple more moves, and queen to f7. Leela C Zero checkmated here the Tucano chess engine. So, what to say? This is epic. This is really crazy. Please check out, combined maybe with this video, a beautiful instructive video by Yasser Seirawan. The link of this video is in the description below. Please check it out. I think it has really a similar idea, and Yasser Seirawan is really one of the best chess analysts, in my opinion, in the world. So he has really beautiful theoretical knowledge. He has such a beautiful voice also when he explains something. So please check out his video. You will not regret it, because it's so amazing how he had a really cool idea prepared against Jan Timman, which was not played in the game, but it's a similar tactical approach that we have seen here. Please check it out. As I said, it's really one of the greatest chess analysis that I've seen on YouTube for sure. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Crazy attack here by Leela C Zero against the Tucano chess engine in the Nimzo-Indian Defense. But we're waiting for the derby. We're waiting for the derby between Leela and Stockfish. Probably they'll meet in the super final. When they meet, of course, they are on opposite sides of the bracket, so they can only meet in the final. So we'll have, I think, again, a spectacular match to follow for sure. So, okay, if you want to see more brutal, aggressive, sharp, tactical chess like this, check out our commented chess games played by computers. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, hit the subscribe button. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say in the end? Chess is the best, of course.